Facing both of their coordinators, hiring John Morton to be the offensive coordinator, going internal with Kelvin Shepherd, at defensive coordinator. It's a tall task. Obviously, it's a very talented team, but both still have a lot to prove in terms of making the necessary adjustments. Edge is the other priority I'd highlight next. Aiden Hutchinson needs a running mate opposite him. If Myles Garrett doesn't happen, obviously that's the dream. They still have to focus on upgrading at the position, upgrading that pass rush. Hopefully don't have to blitz as much as they did last year. Finally, guard. One of their free agents is Kevin Zeitler. And this is, of course, a position of strength for Lions, the offensive line. But I would argue that they have to continue investing in it, in part because their quarterback, Jared Goff, thrives when he's well protected. We have seen that the last couple of years, So I would say to make sure his performance continues, to give them that foundation that they've had the last couple of years, got to keep spending resources in that offensive line, even if it feels like a luxury to them at this point.
Yeah, second best QBR in the NFL behind Burrow when not under pressure, to your point, Mina. Okay, RC, let's go to the Bears. 3 things.
The first thing for the Bears for me is get someone opposite Montez Sweat that can build a rush. You want to be able to rush the passer with just 4 men. If you can get there and have someone opposite Montez Sweat who changed that defense a year and a half ago, I think you find a way to be better defensively. And the interior O-line. We saw Caleb Williams under siege the entire year. They have to be strong at the guard, center, and guard position in order to allow him to work the passing pocket. And Ben Johnson, you were brought there to fix Caleb Williams. Find a way for Caleb Williams to be what we saw a little bit early on with Shane Waldron, getting the football out of his hands quickly, playing on time. And then early on in Thomas Brown's tenure as the offensive coordinator, where we saw him creating, making plays, being the Caleb Williams that we all loved at USC and Oklahoma. There has to be a happy medium of protecting himself. He also needs to take a total grasp of this offense.
Yeah, sacked 68 times, tied for the 3rd most in a season ever. All right, Tim, the Vikings, give me 3 things that they need to do.
Well, I would start off by looking at the free agents they have on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the secondary. So they have 5 starters that are headed to free agency, 3 of them in the secondary. And so whether it's Byron Murphy, whether it's Stephon Gilmore, like what's your plan with them? Just think about some of the things they do. They're aggressive. They rely a lot on their secondary to play well. Speaking of, bringing pressure, when you can bring pressure without bringing pressure by winning up front, that helps. Developing a pass rush. You're going to play in a division that's got a lot of really good quarterbacks. Getting after the quarterback is important. And I think you've got to make a decision at the quarterback position. Decide where you are going to build. I actually think it's a decision that's difficult, but I would go with Sam Darnold. He's proved he could play in your system. He's just 28 years old. And I think that with the situation you have with J.J. McCarthy, you don't have to give him away. At the same time, there are plenty of teams, especially the way this year's draft looks, that would be interested in J.J. McCarthy, and you could get really good value for him. So I would build around Sam Darnold. That would be the #1 priority for me.
Wow, going all in. 35 touchdowns last season, tied with Kirk Cousins for 2nd most all time in that franchise. Very interesting, Tim. All right, let's talk about the Packers. Each of you give me a top priority. Mina, where would you start?
Yeah, so their head coach, Matt LaFleur, last year when he was asked about them not having a wide receiver 1, said he wanted to vomit because he was sick of being asked about it so much. Well, he's going to want to puke again after listening to me, because I think they need a wide receiver 1. I felt that was apparent in the postseason. They have a lot of really talented skill players. Christian Watson brings speed. Romeo Doubs, good hands, possession guy. Jayden Reed, you can use it in a bunch of different ways. But do they have a receiver who can get you a bucket against man coverage? I feel that they have to continue pursuing one, something that I would look to in both the draft and free agency, because it feels like the missing piece in this very good offense.
Just as they're trying to find a receiver, I believe they have to look at the cornerback market and the cornerback position in the draft. Jair Alexander is likely going to be moving on. And do you believe you have a #1 in Valentine Stokes or Nixon? And so to me, it's about finding that guy that can stand across from the Justin Jefferson, stand across from the Amon-Ra St. Browns and Jamo Williams, and you don't have to worry about that player nor that position. If I'm the Green Bay Packers, along with getting a wide receiver 1, I want somebody on the other side that can cover that guy.
Yeah, the thing that helped you cover that, guys, if you can rush the passer. The Packers were near the bottom, in terms of pass rush win rate in the NFL. Like that's, and look, I was just saying it, talking about the Vikings. Play in a division that's got good quarterbacks, and so you better be able to get after the passer. Look, I think that's an area of great need for them. Jeff Hafley, I think, did a good job, creating pressures, causing confusion. It's hard to do that week in, week out, year over year. You need guys to be able to win up front individual matchups. We obviously saw it in the Super Bowl. I think for Green Bay to take that next step defensively, that's got to be part of the plan.
But the league did create a rule requiring the pushers to start at least 1 yard behind the quarterback. Now, we're not sure which team actually proposed this ban. We're pretty sure it wasn't the Eagles or the Bills. The two teams have combined to run 163 tush pushes in the last 3 seasons, more than the rest of the NFL combined. Philly and Buffalo have scored a touchdown or gotten a first down on 87% of their tush pushes. The rest of the NFL has been successful on just 71%. Philly also scored, as you may recall, the first touchdown of the Super Bowl on a brotherly shove. Mina, Bill Cowher has said this is not a football play. Do you think it should be relegated out of the game?
No, I don't. I think the other teams should compete more, honestly. There's a number of reasons why Philadelphia is so good at the tush push. One is that they have an incredibly strong quarterback in Jalen Hurts. They have a huge physical, strong offensive line. Of course, the reason for a lot of their success in recent years. But I think maybe the biggest reason, and our colleague Jason Kelsey has talked about this, Ryan, is they practice it constantly. There's a level of attention to detail that's been worked out over the years, and they run it all the time. In fact, the only team that's run it anywhere close to them, as you highlighted, Hannah, there, is Buffalo, who, by the way, actually has a higher conversion rate on tush pushes than Philadelphia. But no other team has even invested in it. And I think that's what the other team should be doing, not trying to outlaw this play. I understand it was just one team. They should be trying to emulate it, because it appears to me that too many teams aren't even attempting to do it.
Also, too, how soft do you have to be? Oh, we can't stop it. Our defensive tackles aren't tough enough. Our linebackers get hurt. Shut the hell up and bow your neck. Somebody get physical and stop the play. And as Mina says, though, it's like everything else in sports. If you don't have the personnel to do it, you actually don't do it. Trust me, right? Whatever team Matthew Stafford plays for next year is not implementing the tush push. Don't even trip. Don't even worry about it. Don't practice it. It's about understanding who you're playing, practicing, getting in the right gap. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs went into the AFC Championship with an actual plan for the quarterback sneak, with a plan to stop Josh Allen. Not only did they stop a 2-point conversion, but they also stopped the 4th down attempt, depending on where you thought the football was. And so to me, to go in there and be like, instead of